Kyle Bradshaw from Chaparral Motorsports here at the KLIM headquarters. We've got our sales rep, Scott, over here. And we're gonna go ahead and get a tour of the entire factory back here. Now, KLIM makes some of the most technical performance gear in all of the marketplace. I mean, literally, if you're on a motorcycle and traveling across the country, whether it be on-road or off-road, KLIM is the brand that you're gonna want due to several factors. They've got Gore-Tex, Gore-Tex Pro, we've got D3O, impact protection, waterproof from the exterior. I mean, that's what I like about KLIM. I mean, that's what really puts you guys on the map, is the fact that you guys have the most technical gear out there, and that's it. It's free. Now, part of that is, I mean, you guys come from the snowmobile world, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's really where everything, where literally you're out on a snowmobile and you get stuck out there, it's life or death.
Yeah.
Like, that gear has to work. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked to learn a little bit more about the gear. I mean, I've been selling this gear for a long time. I wear it myself. I have a Badlands suit that's pretty beat to shreds, and then my Apex jacket is my daily rider. So, I mean, I love your guys' gear. So, again, stoked to get back there and take a look and see what makes this thing tick.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so now right now we're gonna step into what they call the think room. Now, what goes on in the think room?
Think room is where design and development, they put out all of their ideas, and we put them on the wall. We get to look at them, see what guys like and dislike, and it's the first opportunity for a lot of people just to take a look and see, hey, what is the direction we want to go, and we start from wild to mild, and
now when it comes to the number of people that are helping make those decisions, how big is that team?
The product and design team, it's relatively small. You're probably talking, 4 or 5 guys, but we also have your product line manager, which is involved, but design, they're kind of unfiltered to the point where the product line managers like Plummer, Ben Watts, the sales team, we can't come in here and say, this isn't going to work or that's not going to work. We kind of have to let them have their free reign, because they're working with suppliers at the factory level, colorways, what's the updated trends coming out, and then they also work with multiple dealers. They'll get down, they'll talk to Shap. Hey, what are you guys seeing? What colors are hot? And a lot of times these people are showing up on your showroom floor and you have no idea who they are. So there's a lot of research that they do that I'm not seeing in my spot. And so we can come up here and give them a little bit of feedback, but that feedback, even though I may not like something or I really like something a lot, that doesn't really necessarily mean they're going to go that direction.
So BJ, we're stepping up here into the Choroid section of the production team, and what is Choroid exactly, and kind of what are we doing with it?
Well, I'm gonna let Archie answer that question. Archie is our hard parts developer and works on all of our helmets and our goggles, and he is the man with Choroid.
Yeah, so there's 2 layers to it. There's an outside layer and inside layer. One is it's thermal bonded or thermal welded together, so there's no glue or resin involved. So you get a same thing with like a pre-preg or pre-pregnated carbon. You get a consistent form with the thermal, and then the inside of the Choroid tube is where the structure comes from, and that's where you get the energy and impact management come from. What I'm holding right here is our Cryos Pro EPS, Choroid EPS, that we're developing and that we have been developing for a while now. So right now, basically, it's the whole top dome part, which covers all the main impact areas of where the most common impact areas when you do get in an accident. And so the benefits of this is it offers the impact protection of the Choroid and the EPS. Another thing, huge benefit that we found is the ventilation factor. If you see, I mean, you see what we did with EPS right here. I mean, there's a lot of ventilation right there, but no protection, on our standard Kraus helmet, the whole top part of this would be a solid EPS. And the only thing you would have ventilating it is, the vent holes that you have coming in from your shell vents. This one, so we have tons of ventilation there, but no protection here. When you add the Choroid dome, we're able to basically add the protection and ventilate that whole top part of the helmet. So you do get the ventilation story in there with the protection and you get the protection and the ventilation out of it, basically. So
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, instead of just ventilating through the channels and having to plumb the EPS, you can just have the whole EPS plumbed with the Choroid and get a full ventilation.
That's going to do a really good job exhausting the heat from your head, which
Yeah,
you're,
radiant heat loss.
And
you're
humidity.
producing so much heat.
Yeah. I mean, EPS, it's basically, I mean, expanded polystyrene is a cooler material, you know, as far as, you know, you put your sodas in it for the weekend camping trip, you know,
Yeah.
and it holds all the heat in or the cold in, you know, so it's an insulation. So if we're able to perforate that, which you can, but then you lose the safety factor and the protection factor. So with the Choroid, it allows us to perforate it, add the safety, and still get the ventilation to it.
It's pretty amazing.
Yep.
So what year will we see in the Kraus Pro?
Kraus Pro will actually, we just launched it for this spring sales meeting that we just had in 2018, this 2018 spring
It
sales.
comes off embargo on January 1st, and it'll be for sale February 1st, 2019.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep, super excited.
Another
about
cool
that.
thing about the Choroid is Choroid has 48% more impact protection than EPS alone. Then we also get, you know, ventilation. And again, the radiant heat loss just from, you know, you in the helmet, just the heat removing out of your head is much better than you get with just a standard EPS helmet. And that's the thing that, you know, for KLIM is we want to make sure that we go on long rides. Okay, we're on the off-road side. We're not a motocross brand. We're not doing 40-minute motos. We're doing a 10-hour ride, and so weight is a big deal for us. Ventilation is a huge deal for us because we're creating heat. We're working hard. Even if it's on a big bike or a small bike, you're talking about you're going miles and you're spending a day in your adventure. We get, you know, a long way from the truck, regardless if you're on a small bike or if you're on your big bike and you're going for, you know, a 100-mile day.
Right.
You want to make sure that you've got the most comfort because you're going to be on that bike all day long. And really, the tell about all of these components is what is your condition at the end of the ride?
Right.
Do you finish, you know, a long day and are you still fresh? Is your neck just dead tired because you got this huge helmet on? And, you know, what's your motivation to get out and ride the next day? That's really what we're all about.
And, you know, and the big difference between polystyrene and Choroid is in the impact. So after you've taken an impact with the helmet, polystyrene is done in that spot. Well, Choroid is still just as effective until it crushes down to zero, and then it's even. But before then, this is just as effective as this is here. So until it crushes all the way down, you're still getting the same amount of protection every time you hit the helmet, where polystyrene, once it hits in that spot is no longer safe.
Yeah, we're not saying that Choroid is multiple impact, you know, as far as that's the ultimate helmet to get, is a multiple impact helmet that you'll never have to replace or whatever, but Choroid, like this is an example of how Choroid compacts. It's always a consistent crush, so you'll never what do I want to say? EPS has a crush. What was that?
Like peaks and valleys of the crush.
Exactly, and so it crushes and then it also pops back out.
It's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent.
That's to where this will crush almost like a zigzag form.
And so it's always consistent. You can also see where it's been crushed, you know, so you know where it's been.
Homogeneous.
There you go. You know, yeah, you know where it's been crushed as far as that goes. So anyway, the Choroid is a technology that we're all hands on deck on. I mean, we're all in on it.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about it. Incorporating it now into our Kraus Pro helmet.
So where did it originate?
I'd be the guy who like shot him in the head.
It's over in Europe, right? It's shot of Morocco?
It's in Monaco.
Monaco, excuse me.
is where Choroid's based out of right now.
I'm a pro
As
hunter
far as
there.
that goes, I mean,
Hunter
there's a
gatherer
lot
at
of
the grocery
different sources that you can go to as far as finding out the story about Choroid. John Lloyd, he's the owner, CEO of Choroid, that's developed it, and basically it all came about from an airplane accident where they investigated the airplane accident and, you know, what could have been done better to make things not fail as much. And a lot of it was, hey, they had square seat tubes, you know, or square seat frames. They found out if they were able to make the seat frames circle or round like a tube, you get more structural support out of that. And so Based off of that, it grew from there. They started doing studies. They started developing this material, not just gluing it together, like I said, the dual wall construction where it's thermoformed together. And they were able to make, consistent sheets. This is sort of an idea of what it looks like coming off of just the assembly line. This right here is a thermoform piece, so it's a flat sheet, and then they thermoform it into a dome.
Interesting.
And to get that shape, and then they obviously edge it to fit our shape of the EPS of how we wanted it designed and fit onto the EPS.
So it's basically getting heated together, adding more structure.
So that does add more structure. So the outside of the tube is the material that gets heated, and that's what thermal welds it all itself together. And then so that adds a little bit of the strength and structure.
Cool.
But it's the inner tube that the second part of the core that adds the real rigidity and the impact of absorption and management for that.
Interesting. Right on.
Pretty cool stuff.
Thanks, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for the Choroid 101.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
So we get into sourcing and logistics, and so the thing that makes KLIM tick is just all the ingredients that we use. So we source everything from the thread that goes into the zippers, the snaps, every single material. We don't have anything that's just run of the mill. We have to, when we show up at a factory to get created and build everything, we have to make sure that all of the materials show up at the same time. Because the factories that we're using, most of them are core factories, but we have to make sure that they have everything available so that when they go into a cut and sew job, they've got everything available.
Makes sense.
So what the sourcing and logistics teams do is they work with mills, and they have to work up to 18 to 2 years ahead of time, because we have to make sure that we're getting the right fabrics spun. Then they have to get made into bulk, and then they have to get dyed, and then we have to make sure that we're getting all the samples and the correct dyes and the colorways come out right. And so by the time that everything shows up to the factory, it's spun, it's in a roll, it's dyed the right colorway, or is it going to get digitally printed? We have to go through that whole process. We just can't call up the factory and say, hey, we need a jacket to hit this price point, or we just need such and such fabric that the mill has readily available, in their stockroom. Everything that KLIM builds it's an a la carte thing. So everything from the thread counts all the way up to the fabrics all has to be single sourced, and we have to make sure all that happens here.
The buttons, the zipper, the Velcro.
Everything.
So if you have one material missing from a jacket, it stops the entire production?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very detail oriented, because these developers back here, they work with our material specialists, and these guys go through all of our suppliers, and they have to find out what's going to be the best product for that end of use, or fit for use is what we like to use, and what's going to be the best for that application. Once they find that, then we have to go out there and make sure that we have quantities sufficient that we can build all of our product. And so it's one thing for us on the sales level and the marketing level to say, hey, yeah, this is the best of everything we have out there. Now these guys actually have to go and get it done. So let's say that we want to make sure that we can sell 5,000 pairs of pants in a year. Well, that's all great as long as we can get all of the materials to build those pants made, and then everything comes together. So all of the snaps have to show up at the same time. All the thread has to show up at the same time. The actual fabrics that we're making the product out of, the zippers, everything has to be there at the same time so it can get cut, sewn, and created. So yeah, this is where all the magic happens. This is the mad scientist in here. So
material dictionaries.
Yeah, they've got swatches, and then there are computer libraries back here in the back. And so when it comes down to designing a product, the development team works really close with our fabric specialists on what fabric's going to give them the best use and the best quality when it comes to the end use. And so these guys have a huge job on making sure that we use all of the materials at our disposal, and making sure that we get the right products in every piece we make.
It's awesome.
And a lot of pieces have multiple materials in them, so it's not just sourcing one super fabric. It's getting the fabric that goes over your shoulder and elbow guards. It's the lining of the jacket, the stitching. All that stuff has to come from here.
Wait, hold on.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So Evan right here in the corner.
Thanks, Evan.
Wave Evan. These guys are from Chaparral.
How's it going?
Hey guys.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
They're getting the grand tour.
Yeah.
So Evan is actually he's been a product line manager for us. He's been a designer for us. Now obviously working with our sourcing and factory relations and fabric specialists. But Evan he does a lot of our testing too. So Ev is he's ran Erzberg before. The guy's an incredible rider.
It's impressive.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he plays in everything. So from the snow side to the motorcycle side. That's the only thing he doesn't do is get on the big bikes. So,
Cool.
Not that he can't, but he's got too many hobbies.
I don't know. I have a lot more fun off the dirt roads than on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But everything from hunting, shooting, everything, fishing in Alaska, everything outdoor. Evan, he fits the mold. So
He has to.
if
Testing all these
I can
materials.
guarantee that if it passes Evan's test, it's going to be successful on the showroom floor.
Sweet.
We don't have to worry about it. We can warranty it. We can guarantee it because he puts it through the paces. So.
Sweet. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Thanks.
Yeah, when we go ride with Ev, we pack a lunch. So give us the 411. Like, what happens back here, Ev?
I think you explained it. We're always looking for the very best of the best. Fabric-wise, it's not just taking what's off the shelf from a supplier. It's take that and, hey, can we twist this yarn to make it even stronger than it currently is? Or can we add, something in the warp and weft of a fabric to take what they've got to the next level? With our gear, it's always about taking it to the next level. That's what we do. For example, I got a fabric I can't show you, but I can tell you a little bit about it. You literally cannot cut it with scissors. I can take this $60 pair of scissors and it will not cut the fabric.
Wow.
It won't do it.
Huh.
So that's where we're always trying to take it to the next level.
All right, BJ, this contraption looks very familiar. I have a buddy who ordered one of these on Amazon. It got delivered.
Wow.
And he started making some pretty cool stuff. He's got trinkets all over his house now. So what does KLIM use a 3D printer for?
So with our hard parts, if there's a part that they need to have built or working with some design stuff, they can plug it in here. I don't really know much about the 3D printer other than it makes a little bit of noise, and they have the ability to fine-tune and make parts here in-house instead of having to send them to a factory and then wait with the shipping times and a couple weeks before you get it back and see how it fits, how it works. As we've developed like the Cryos helmet, for instance, we were working with the spoiler in the back. We were also working with the vent in the front and how to get that helmet to balance at speeds on the bike. And so, yeah, they were able to come in here and build different versions of the visor and then actually take it out onto the freeways and test it to see how does it work with the drag, how does it work with the wind, how does it work when you turn your head from side to side. And yeah, and so really to find out where that balance point was for the helmet, they can mock up a part right here and get the fit, the length, the width, how deep it is. They can do all that right here in-house, go out and test it, and then they have feedback immediately, and they don't have to wait the whole shipping and production from factory levels. And so it just speeds up the process and helps us make products quicker.
That's factory in itself because factory KTM actually has a Supercross test track right outside their factory facility in Murrieta, so they can build parts on the bike, go test it right then and there rather than loading it into a box van.
Yep.
Driving down to the track.
That's right.
Huh. You guys are getting things done.
Let's head down to warranty.
Some crash gear right here. Show them some crash gear.
I don't know the backstory to any of this kind of stuff, but
Oh, that's pretty sick.
There's some mile an hours here, so 26 to 35 mile an hour is, I think it's going to be on this side. But these are all customers, jackets, pants that they send in after an accident, and we go through them and see if we can make them better, stronger.
So with our with our street gear, we have crash protection. And with crash protection, we actually replace your gear if we get a report. Typically, there's a police report involved, but we make really expensive stuff, and it's expensive because it's the best. But for kind of a little insurance on the consumer's end, we will, if you actually get in an accident and there's a police report, it's everything's legitimate, we will give you a new set of gear.
It's amazing.
And so what we do with that, though, is we have to get the gear back in. And so when we get it back in, we're testing it. How did it perform? How did the seams hold up? Is there any thread broke? How did the abrasion on the materials hold up? And you can kind of see, with where everything's at here. Some of these guys, we got a Badlands here, super fabric, down on asphalt. This is what it looks like. If you were going between 26 and 35 miles an hour and you hit the asphalt, without this gear on, what do you look like then? So we've got.
I'm surprised that we put over the mesh for the Adventure Rally. We put the super fabric, kind of double layered. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, when you on your abrasion zones, though, I'm sure this guy was happy he did.
For sure.
Yeah. You can take a look, and as we get up here, the speeds get a little bit quicker. You can kind of see what's going on. A lot of these had to be cut off of people, and we've got a report along with everything that we have, and we can kind of see how was the gear performing, and what do we do in the future to make it better, because we know that guys aren't going to stop riding bikes, and they're not going to stop crashing. So we need to make sure that with the materials that we're using, with the protection that we're using, everything is going to protect you in an accident. And again, I don't know the individual story on each one of these pieces, but the majority of these people, they get up and they dust themselves off and they get back on a bike again. So there's a few like this one here, they had to cut it open. Obviously this guy, he probably, broke something, a collarbone or something, but I don't know the story behind it, but it had to get cut off. And these are the pieces that we replaced. So when these guys, when they had their accident, they ended up getting a new one in the mail. So this is warranty and alterations. And so actually I could probably talk with Ruth Anna. They might be able to do a few things for us. But these ladies back here, they're certified gore. They can do basically a repair on almost everything that we build. So if we've got a jacket that's leaking or a boot that's leaking, it comes into here. They've got suitor testers, they got pressure testers. They can test and see what's failing and what needs repaired. If there's an alteration, if we need to shorten something up or tailor something anyway. If we've got the materials to cut, then we'll do it. But there's not much that these ladies over here can't do.
Over here, they've done a repair. Now she's going to do a complete seam seal. Take a look. You can see the loose seam tape right there that then gets heat pressed. How hot's the heat that seals that? Do you know?
380.
1,800 degrees. Wow. Hot.
Yeah.
And then she's cutting out a piece of fabric that will be used for repair.
20 seconds.
What's that piece go to?
Oh, for the hair.
Stealth jacket.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about everything that they do in here is once something gets repaired in-house at KLIM, it leaves fully warranted again.
Yeah, full gore warranty, I guess. That's amazing.
That's nice. So the warranty continues.
Yeah.
See the core machine? So this is how they could spot test it, see if it's leaking anywhere. They put it under here under pressure. That way we can see if the seams are leaking or the material's failing anywhere.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a pseudo tester, so they can actually put a product over, and then they'll run it through. Put this down on it, and then they have water that comes from the tray up through the hoses, and it pumps it in through, and we run it up at 10 psi to see if it's going to leak, and so.
So you can pressure check the materials.
Yep. Warehouse. So basically everything leaves out of this bay down here. So we've got runners, they got carts, and as we're picking throughout the day or doing big fill orders for dealerships, they take their orders from the desks here, and then they basically have a scanner that they'll go through, and there's a triple check system on every order. So everything gets scanned, then it goes through and they get it packed in the back, it gets scanned again, and then it kind of comes through, they label everything, gets palletized, and then goes out into the trucks, and then it gets scanned one more time. They also have a video surveillance of everything that comes through on the shipping tables, so that we know what goes in each box, and everything is labeled and tracked. So if we've got a dealership or a consumer that says, hey, I received something that I shouldn't have, or I didn't get what I ordered, we have a tracking system that we can go back there and say, hey, did this actually get put into the wrong box, or kind of what happened to it. And so it kind of helps. There's some checks and balances, and by weight too. That's correct. Everything's weighted too. So we've got exchange that comes back over here, and so everything that comes in on a dealership exchange or a return, it has to go through a process where we have to look over the product, make sure that there's no stains, there's no dirt, no soil that hasn't been used. And then these ladies, they go through and they re-tag and repack everything so it looks just as perfect for the next consumer or dealership that gets it. I mean, this kind of takes new appreciation. We've got dealers that do big exchanges. There's a process that they have to go through, and there's a lot of time involved in it. So we're starting to receive all of our product for our August 1st launch for snow 2018. So everything is starting to arrive this month, and so warehouse personnel, they're going to go through. You're starting to see a lot of boxes on the end. They're making more room on the shelves so we can start taking in all that new product. So we got sales and marketing group back in here. So this is where all the fun stuff lives.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Justin, he's not very fun.
What are you doing here?
I came up so you could.
Get across the border.
Yeah, that's right. I snuck in early this morning so they didn't even know I came.
Yeah.
You
Nice.
doing some bike maintenance?
I'm trying to figure out what oil they used on these filters. That's always a fun guessing game.
Yes.
This is where the fun is.
This is where it all goes down.
Let's see if that works.
Nice.
Well, this is Dustin's happy place.
Yeah. Not at the desk.
He's making more horsepower. He's happy.
Did you see that little 65 I built?
I did.
That thing is awesome.
This is what Scott's riding tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boys.
Ride it.
I need the 3/4 helmet
Helmet?
with the Joffre. Yeah, a helmet.
XR200 farm bike and a helmet?
Yeah, you gotta wear jeans and leather gloves.
Yes, some gardening gloves.
No, you gotta have a shovel,
Pipe moving boots.
pipe moving boots, a spare
No.
gasket.
Cut off sleeve flannel.
You still don't see any of these on Craigslist early because everyone that has them, they still run
Yeah.
and they just keep going.
You could put that in the river for
It does, and it'll go. You're exactly right. Whether it's a 400 or if it's a 650,
Yeah.
those things just go and go.
Dude,
Yeah,
you
they're
guys
tanks.
want to see something crazy? Yeah. So I was up on a ride, and it was one of these bikes. I was on a ride.
This is what I want to ride, dude.
Hey, let's do it. Get you guys back up in the winter.
I want to ride a
I'm
snow
cruising
bike.
down this trail.
Snow bikes are in the other room. I already saw them.
Yeah, they're on the
I spied them.
That's cool.
Can we put like? Is there an extended seat for this?
Oh,
So we can run like 6 passengers?
No.
Your group?
No.
One only,
I was
baby.
just on my way
That's
back.
just to
Look how
keep it
far
straight.
down that is, though, dude. It was an old XR. No, this was just last week I was on.
Rock it there?
Yeah.
How far are you?
I didn't know these things were so big.
That's a 174.
Oh my god.
There's snow bikes here too.
But like, is
Yeah,
this just
they're
like,
around the corner.
what's a normal size? Like, is this a normal size?
163 is.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I have no idea.
Yeah.
This is normal?
Well, I mean, this is for. So you're eastern Idaho, western Wyoming. Okay, so we've got a lot of deep snow. We're very dry, and so in the wintertime, you know, you're not riding on trails.
Fluff on the
Yeah, so I mean, if you're out in the mountains all the time, you got to have a good footprint, something that's maneuverable. But you know, you got to have that footprint to get you through that deep snow.
maneuverable.
Dude, I'm telling you, the snow video you guys put, was it last year or the year before? You guys all get in the truck and the trailer, take it out, everyone pulls out and head. Dude, I'm not really a big snow guy, but I wanted to buy a snowmobile like
Just
right
'cause of
now.
that video.
Dude, epic.
So this is, man, I want to ride one of these. This thing looks like a beast. This thing's badass.
It is, but I mean, again, there's that learning curve, and once you get to it,
you learn how to float.
I mean, these things. But also, you've got. I mean, you know, I've got one of these, and you know, it's turbocharged. It's like 230 horse, and no, these are 2-strokes.
Yours is a 4-stroke though?
Mine's a 2-stroke.
Oh shit. A
Ning,
2-stroke that's turbocharged? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, Boondocker Performance, you guys probably do tons of Razors down there with their turbo systems on them. But they're here in Idaho Falls, and
So- are there any 4-stroke models that they sell?
yeah, there's a lot of 4-stroke models that get sold, but, and there's a lot of turbocharger guys that run up in the hills, but, I mean, 4-stroke turbos, I mean, they have a lot of hill climb horsepower, but they're heavy. And so,
These are still lightweight.
Yeah,
Just
these are-
like a 2-stroke dirt bike.
yeah, exactly, same process. But again, these are all fuel injected. There's a lot of technology that, you know, we've had in the snowmobile side that KTM is just now starting to turn on the motorcycle side.
I can't believe how big these things are. I've never like actually been next to one. I've never stood next to one.
Really?
These things are turbo.
Yeah.
When I built this, I did it in my garage.
So you put it on a trailer, obviously, or you guys put them in the back of trucks?
Yeah, we've got enclosed trailers, and so yeah, we throw them here in the trailer, hook them on the truck, and away we go. So, yeah.
Where are the snow bikes?
So I guess they're in the other room.
So the snow bikes you have to like.
Some bikes are around the corner.
You're just taking a dirt bike and you're just.
When I told Justin,
You basically swap out.
Yeah, take the swing arm off,
Kits.
and then yeah, let's go take a look.
We're no. There's no snow over here. We don't. Like we have a couple mountains that people think they go skiing.
They're on the float. It's fourth. I mean, we've got we've got parades all through the month of July, and so KLIM is very involved with local everything, and so yeah. So you got a couple. Yeah. So you got a 137 kit and a 120 kit, and yeah, they're set up to go.
Yes, please.